Okay, good morning, listeners, and welcome to our first little mini-sode of the series.
Welcome!
Yeah, we decided we'd do these every 10 episodes because trying to fix Witch is a long-term thing, and it can get really tiring and stressful after a while. You may have noticed in recent episodes that we have gotten less and less, hinged.
Hinged.
You know what I mean? We get more and more unhinged as the series goes on because it makes less and less sense. So we decided we needed, every couple of 10 episodes, we'd take a little breather from doing that because, wow, our sanity deserves it.
Yeah! So think of it as you guys joining us on a little chill discussion about stuff that we're also hyped about.
Yeah. This little corner is for magical girl tangents that don't require us to do overhauls, that we just kind of like and talk about, in a way where it's not just this intense analysis / God, this needs restructuring sort of situation. This is just us having a good time. And I guess because the genre of magical girls is so loose. Yeah, magical girl has a very specific, in today's society, we tend to consider it girly property, lots of fun outfits, there is magic involved, and there's almost always a henshin. But it's not necessarily always that. Sometimes it's just girls doing magical shit. Sometimes it's a boy doing a henshin. As long as there's, by our podcast definition, it's just a property where a person has magical powers and or abilities, and sometimes they change vibes, I guess.
Vibes.
Yeah, so you guys, if you guys want us to talk about anything in the tangent corner, you can put that in the comments. I have literally talked about this behind the scenes with Elle, where we discuss getting guests on this little tangent thing, because by this definition, Yu-Gi-Oh! Counts as a magical girl anime, and I mean, it does.
The real underlying reason.
Yeah,
that is the description.
Well, I mean, Catwoman also,
maybe.
There's
a lot of things we can talk about, really.
Yeah. And to start us off on this, we're going with one that doesn't really have a henshin, but does involve, a girl who is magic, who does cool shit using magic. We are... Listen, Filipinos don't get a lot of, anything, so, I mean, I feel like it's quite timely now. I thought for a little while that we wouldn't get this out in a timely fashion because Trese came out, 2 months ago. But with all of this buzz around the Olympics and, a first gold medal, somebody, I think Marjolein Hidel, in the skateboarding finalist now, I think. Yeah.
Skateboarding, yeah.
And
we got a gold medal in weightlifting also.
Yeah. So, this is actually quite timely that we're talking about it because, I guess this is also, the first anime adaptation of anything that we've gotten.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now national pride.
Yeah, we're talking about cool, strong Filipino ladies today, and I can think of no better fictional lady to talk about to start this whole little tangent off with than Alexandra Trese. When it came out, we had a whole little chat about it privately away from the other two just because we were so hyped. Yeah.
So alright, before we begin, I guess a disclaimer where basically everything we're discussing in this series, we're not claiming it to be perfect or anything. We want to focus a lot more on the things that we do enjoy about it and what we think are cool, and also maybe why it's a magical girl property.
Yeah, I mean, by no metric is Trese, by 2021 standards, 100%. There have been posts circulating that I don't necessarily disagree with, where it's okay, this whole good cop, good apple situation, questionable. The fact that she is I mean, I'm not gonna say white passing, but definitely mestiza.
Oh yeah.
There's definitely some things you could be turn up your nose at that, that's a little suspicious. But for 2003, 2004, I mean, I think it kind of sort of fit the media niche. So, we're just gonna talk about it based on its merits that it has, that we have enjoyed, because we know it's not perfect. This is not an endorsement of something we think is perfect. We're just here to chat about something we thought was cool.
Yeah, without further ado, I guess we should, give an overview overview of what exactly happens, or like the plot, or like the background of Trese.
Yeah, alright, let's do that. That sounds like a good idea. So
like, a really cool opener to the whole series is, well, it's kind of borderline horror-ish, horror suspense in the setting itself, because it starts out with like a ghost turns up dead and train passengers go missing and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's got a real,
So,
like, the Batman vibe, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, like, it started off a really cool hook, I'd say.
Yeah.
And then it's, like, a cool introduction to Trese, because Trese's... Well, we're gonna call her Trese because, you know...
Everybody else does.
Yeah, in the Japanese dub, they call her Little Trese. But anyway...
We call her that in the English one, too, and it's like, she's, like, 20. She's not little, guys. This is so bizarre.
Yeah, but I guess in the context of the supernatural, but yeah, it's still weird.
I mean, I guess Encantos do live to be like 1,000 years old, but it's still like,
Yeah, well, basically, so she's like an investigator, right? Or like a special police consultant, because she's the one who deals with cases that could be because of the paranormal.
Yeah.
Which is already cool.
Yeah. So the fact that a ghost got, like, murdered. I love that, like, at the opening of that, there's, like, a crowd of people looking at this ghost. Like, are they not surprised to see that white lady there at all? They were just like, oh, there's just a ghost here. Oh my god, she must have been murdered.
It's totally normal here in the Philippines. White lady at Budjette Tan.
Somebody just called the cops for a ghost corpse. I need the logic on that. That was like...
I mean, another disclaimer, there's a lot of suspension of disbelief.
Oh my god, yeah. I made Will watch the first couple of episodes because, like, I thought he might like it, and spoilers alert, he didn't, but that's more because he's picky. And, like, a lot of it just didn't make sense to him, so I had to keep explaining stuff like the cryptids, the weird social stuff, why people kept calling other people bossing. Like, there was a lot that had to be explained, and also it was going at a breakneck pace, and he was just super confused for all of it. He was like, why is this going so fast? I was like, there's only 6 episodes, and he was like, why are there only 6 eps? I'm so confused.
Same. I'm sad about that also, because I feel like they could have expanded it a bit for like people who aren't familiar with our culture.
Yeah, our culture and mythology and stuff. Like, there's definitely a lot that you need to, like, be taken up to speed on. Like, in just the first 2 episodes alone, you're expected to know what white ladies are, what tikbalangs are, what mananangals are, the difference between aswangs and mananangals. Like, there's so much going on. Like,
I'd say it's not really made for people who aren't familiar with that stuff.
Yeah.
Your appreciation would go up like, I don't know, 150% if you, like, are familiar with those kinds of myths or legends and stuff. Like, E and I, we were, you know, told stories about specifically the white lady at Budjette Tan.
Yeah, our school was, like, right there, so we knew a lot about, like, white ladies and stuff. My uncle was in a movie. My uncle's, like, I guess, like, the place where he sets up camp every year. It's a whole thing. He has a violin camp, but, like, his violin camp location was once used for a movie where, like, mananangals were a thing. No, it wasn't. It was about ghosts, but, like, somebody told me about mananangals there. Anyway, the point is, if we didn't have this cultural background, none of this would make any sense to us. And I think that's why it only has 6 eps, is because, like, you need to have such a specific cultural understanding to really get into it.
Yeah, and I guess the series doesn't really explain, you know, those things.
Yeah,
so
it super
just
doesn't.
Like, it's a lot of, I'd say, instead of explanations of what things are, it's more like referencing the things and not really explaining, because, again, I guess because of the limited time, they were trying to get all the plot points out, so there wasn't really time to examine what the heck is this, or like have a character on the side who, because you know how some shows and stories have a specific character who knows nothing about the stuff, so everyone who's an expert at it explains to that person, and that person is basically there for the people who also don't know about it.
Yeah,
so
it's for
there wasn't
exposition
anyone
purposes.
like that here.
Yeah, everyone in Trese is super up to speed, absolutely knows everything about the cryptids, and it's like, well, I mean, that's great for the people like you and me who understand this stuff, but for literally anyone else, it's just question marks across the board. If they had treated this like, I don't like Grimm, but if they had given this kind of the Grimm treatment, where they actually take a little, like a beat to research what's happening, so people can be like brought up to speed, like so the viewers can kind of understand what's going on as well, I feel like that would have benefited the show, but you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because it's like, yes, we got to have this, but they only gave us 6 episodes, so the time was so limited, so now, because nobody understands what's gonna happen, we're probably never gonna, like, see this expanded, because they only gave us 6 episodes.
Yeah, and on the, like, 6 episodes thing, there's, like, this whole thing at the end where you can kind of tell that it should be more than 6 episodes, because a lot of the things were explained in haste at the last episode.
Oh my god, yeah.
But yeah, so, like, those issues aside, I forgot that we were supposed to focus more on the stuff that we were...
Oh my god, yeah, we just went on to a full tangent about how it sucks that it was so short. Anyways, back to the stuff we actually like. It was very rad to see all the stuff. Let's talk for a minute about how hot everybody in that show is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I wasn't allowed to read the comics growing up because my mom said they were violent. Also, like, I guess some of our, like, more international listeners don't know this, but the Philippines has a thing about local comics. It's become better in recent years where people are a little bit less gross about it, but when we were growing up, it was like, oh, it's made local. No one gives a shit. It's not as good as if it's imported. So, you know, naturally, I was both not allowed and not interested at the time.
Yeah.
But, so of course I didn't know how hot everyone was going to be. I watched the show and Jesus Christ, my gay little heart could not handle it. Everyone was so fucking hot.
If you don't believe us, go watch it yourselves.
My God. Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah, like,
all of episode 2 where it's like
emissary.
The emissary is hot, and I don't just mean her outfit, although, like, it's hot both in, like, the cute sense, but also in the, like, practicality sense. Like, she would be so hot wearing that on the MRT.
Honestly, everything they were wearing was kind of hot. I mean, like, temperature hot.
Yeah.
Like, Trese is always in a full suit.
She's always wearing, like that floor-length trench coat thing.
Trench coat.
Yeah, the Kambals are always just, like, wearing their full, like, 2-piece suits. Like, with black shirts underneath.
I'd say 3-piece, right?
Oh, do they have, like, the vests inside? Because I didn't notice them.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I mean, wait, I'm not entirely sure, but either way, it was hot.
Yeah, like, those outfits look so fucking warm. The only person that's dressing practically is their guy who drives them places. I forget his name. The guy that works at the bar that sometimes drives them places and likes, like, 70s hits is the only...
That dude who liked the
movie star lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the only one who knows how to dress for Filipino weather because, shocker alert, it's 25 degrees on a good day, 40 degrees in the summer. You don't want to be wearing a 3-piece... Yeah, you wouldn't want to be wearing a 3-piece suit there, ever.
Yeah. Was it colder in the 2000s?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I remember nearly dying of heat stroke every PE we had when we were growing up, so...
But yeah, so, it's all for fashion, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely for the aesthetic TM.
Yeah. Talking about the aesthetic, though, was pretty cool.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'd say that the settings were done really well also because of how accurate it was.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And then it's like, you could literally recognize...
You could practically
pretty
smell...
much all of the settings or, like, all of the locations. The Meralco building and, like, Aurora Boulevard. Like, my dad was like, wait, that looks like a place we passed by in Aurora Boulevard.
Yeah. Like, I remember, like, it pans, like, the kind of dingy side streets in the first episode, and Will was like, is this really what your country looks like at night? And I was like, I can practically smell this area.
Yeah.
It really... Yeah, like, for context reasons, I haven't been home since, like, December of 2019, but I could definitely smell, like, probably the peanuts that people are selling, the urinal... The grime, the urinals.
Smoky.
Smoky, pissy. Just everything about those illustrations because, like, they are very, very evocative.
Yeah.
When people talk about
They
sense
did,
memories,
yeah, they did it well.
Yeah.
And,
I didn't notice the Meralco building thing until I was watching it again the other night, and I was like, oh, that is the Meralco building! Oh, that's...
Right? It really is.
It's like, oh, no wonder they keep showing that building when they're talking about the people with, like, electricity powers. Of course!
Yeah, the electricity people.
Yeah. I can't believe I didn't notice that the first time. Shout out to Dante Basco for that little bit role. We love to see it.
Yeah, we love to see it. And, like, I also kind of found it funny how a lot of the main or, like, big organization stuff are run by Aswang. Well, the electric company, our electric company, Meralco, is apparently run by, like, electric Aswangs.
Yeah. I don't know.
And then,
I don't know what the Tikbalang run, but they do have like the penthouse suite of a very, very fancy looking building.
Yeah, and then it's just like sitting in a tree.
Yeah, he just hangs out there and is like making excuses for his shitty son.
Yeah. In that way, are we really that different from Aswang?
I love that show was like, so, our bad corporate infrastructure, can we blame it on shitty people? Or are we just beholden to the whims of these supernatural creatures? You tell me. I'm very here for that. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, right. To explain, Aswang is like a general term for, like, you know, supernatural beings.
Yeah,
like,
it's our umbrella term for...
quote-unquote monsters.
Yeah. Our umbrella term for cryptids and superstitious, like, creatures of superstition that came about in the pre-colonial and, like, as a result of post-colonization. Like, I guess I really shouldn't go into this now, because this is a whole long historical discussion. But suffice it to say that the Catholic Church made some people undesirables because they were women doctors, basically, in the pre-colonial era, and as a result, we are now afraid of lady-looking people sucking babies out of pregnant women's stomachs. Yeah. That is the very abridged version of that.
But y'all want to know more, there's Google.
Yeah, there's Google, and a very good book I could recommend called Creatures of Lower Philippine Mythology. Very interesting if you're interested in that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, so... Okay, disclaimer, we're probably gonna, like, mention spoilers and stuff in passing.
Yeah.
So just, I'd say from this point on, because I do want to talk about things that probably would count as spoilers.
Yeah, so spoilers from here on in.
Yeah. So, like, I think what they also did, like, what they attempted to do with, like, explaining the whole backstory of why Trese became who she is, and also the background story, or, like, why does she have these hot twins or something? And then, I think they managed to, like, put it in nicely, I'd say, because it does make use of the anime thing where there are, like, black and white flashbacks every now and then. But everything before episode 6, I'd say, was pretty well done.
Yeah, I'd say it was solid.
Yeah, because, episode 6 was, like, flashback montage, but...
It was flashback montage, and then also, like, this is your destiny. You are bound to sit on a throne of skulls.
Yeah, which sounds pretty edgy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the explanation for the artwork that will be going up alongside this episode.
Yeah, I guess you guys are seeing it now.
Yeah, it's on screen now. I did it special for this one episode.
Yeah.
Because we were both so hyped to do this.
Yeah, and, like, okay, so basically Trese, she wasn't the first Trese to, you know, be involved with the paranormal investigation stuff, because apparently the Treses were, you know, of a long line of,
Babaylan Mandirigwa, which is, like, warrior healer sort of situation.
Yeah, and then she inherited that title from her father, but of course there was, like, this cool rite of passage stuff that happened in the Great Budjette Tree.
It looks like a big Budjette tree. Yeah. I kind of want to know what happened in there, because it looks like she just was in a tree for 5 years, and then when she came out, her dad was dead. Like,
yeah.
Explain, please.
Yeah, I was actually expecting like there would be some kind of, how in Avatar there would be some kind of spiritual guide or something, or someone who would acknowledge whatever it is she's trying to do or is being made to do in the tree, but it was not really said what she was doing in the tree or like why. But yeah, things we wish maybe if
had been explained.
Does kind of happen, then maybe I hope it'll be explained.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they fleshed that tree stuff out.
Yeah, and well, it's also pretty cool how Trese is basically in the middle of this whole humans versus aswang problem, which I think her father tried to fix during his time by putting up the Accords, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty intense how everything is on her shoulders now, and like everything is kind of falling apart while she's doing her thing. Because there were some aswang who didn't like the Accords.
Yeah,
and also this whole like god of war.
He's
both.
I think he's like the god of war and chaos, who is also the Campbell's like dad.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and he's the one who was monologuing in episode 6.
Yeah, he goes on like a full like 15 minutes out of 20 minutes long conversation about like how her dad did dirty by the aswang, and then like basically I kind of liked the idea that like maybe her viewpoint was a little bit biased based on the fact that that's her dad, so she didn't really see that he was actually kind of making it harder for the aswang to be themselves and like have a good time. I thought that was a very interesting that they did with that, because naturally when you only see one side of a conflict you don't understand what the other side is going through, but then they just fully vilified him and it was like
yeah. And like what he was saying was actually making sense.
Yeah, it was like they were just showing that like the aswangs were actually not super happy about the Accords, kind of didn't like it all that much, and like they kept making it they just made Anton out to be like maybe not acting in everybody's best interest, and naturally this meant that this guy was a bad guy, like the person that was talking about this was a bad guy, even though Anton fully killed his daughter's twin. Like that fully happened, they showed it, and that was
my god, that was when it was like when they did that reveal I was like, oh my goodness.
I know, I was like, wait, they put her baby ashes in that dagger? They killed her? Excuse me?
Well, and I get that, little Trese is, biased, because she did grow up loving her dad and basically with her dad, because her mom died also, so he was basically the one who made her who she is today. And I wish we could expand a bit more on that, but I guess there just wasn't really much time to delve into those, internal struggles. But, it's there, and I think it's cool that, her perfect father is not everything that she thought he was, and maybe it could be a gateway to more coming of age shenanigans.
Yeah, more introspection, because that's one thing that I really didn't like that much about this show was like Trese herself was a pretty boring character. Like she was surrounded by super interesting things and super interesting people, but Alexandra Trese herself has no internal monologue, does not give two shits about anything. She's very boring. So like,
if the only thing that she's I'd say is cool about her is that she is a badass, I give her that.
Yeah, but, like, she has all these badass powers, but, like, she's kind of like when Dude Bros handle the Batman and he has nothing going on internally, it's the same. It's like, you have all this cool stuff that you could be using. Give her internal conflict. Let her have, like, issues, because when you don't, you just have this very boring, super cool badass, but very boring character, and it's, like, very much just wasted potential in terms of the writing, I think.
Yeah, I think they tried to explain her with, like, the flashbacks and stuff, but it's, I'd say the Alexandra from before and past Alexandra and the Alexandra now, I feel like there's a missing link.
Yeah, the missing link is what happened in that tree, but they're not showing what happened in the tree, so it's just like, she was this innocent schoolgirl, and now she's like jaded and 25 and solving crimes, and it's like, show me the step there.
She had way more emotion as a kid and everything. She was still learning.
Yeah.
She was also, like, trying to deal with suddenly having twin bros.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. Maybe if they ever gave her a season 2, it would actually delve into, her feelings on the whole turns out my dad sucks situation. Like, let us
actually acknowledge it.
She didn't. Yeah, she just went to where the tree was and was like, brood. And it was like, give us something to work with here. She's so boring.
Yeah, I mean, if she was going to go back there or something, if she was going to be there again, I thought they would finally, reveal something about it.
Acknowledge what happened there.
Camera panned out.
Rain, cool credits sequence, but nothing else. And it's like...
But, oh gosh. Oh! The taxi driver's name is Hank.
Hank. His name's Hank. I love Hank. Hank. Everybody that she's friends with is so good. I love the Gumbels. I love Hank.
Yeah, the Gumbels. They're so... they're like a bunch of doofuses, but they're like strong doofuses with, with a good heart. Their heart's in the right place.
They're your garden variety himbos with a touch of like supernatural flavor, and for that I have to stan. Like, I'm so here for that. There's like a bit bit in the dub where they're like they find out that Trese had like made a bargain with these air fairy type ladies, also very cute. Like, we were talking about how everybody's hot earlier. They are not exempt. They are so hot. So like they've basically just been like getting all over the Gumbels and for that whole episode. And then at the end they were like, so our prize. So like they come downstairs while everyone's having breakfast, and Tress is like, did you enjoy your prize? Which is like fully implying that their prize was getting to absolutely go to Bone Town on the Gumbels. And like and the Gumbels in the dub are like, wait, we were their prize? Man, I feel objectified. And I was like, this is adorable. This is so cute. They're so dumb. I love them so much.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, I love them so much. I love my stupid twin boys. They're so good. I don't care that their dad was like trying to kill everyone. They're adorable.
Oh my gosh, though. You know what wasn't, accurate about that particular episode was that, there was that whole drag racing with, like Sia, right? But, like, everyone's cars were so nice. No, the drag races here are not done with nice cars.
Yeah, I mean, fully, there's, like, maybe one Audi there.
Yeah, and this was basically, like, I guess they Tokyo drifted it, so it looked, I don't know, more cool, but it's really not.
Yeah.
It's really not Tokyo drift in real life.
I love the bit where he becomes the horse. Like, that really just...
Yeah.
He became... Because he's a thick balang, he can, like... I guess he can shapeshift from human form into horseman form. And, like, he fully does that in the middle of a race. And I don't know if any of our listeners know anything about Red Horse. But they had this very intense commercial that scared me a lot when I was younger, where, like, a man was running and then there was fire and then he became a black horse. And, like, the music was so suspenseful. It scared me every time. And that's what that reminded me of, but it wasn't scary. It was just, oh, he's a horse now.
And actually, what kind of confused me is that how people were witness to, like, a dead ghost, right?
Yeah.
But then they didn't witness this dude in a car turning into a horse.
Yeah, like...
basically shooting in the races.
Yeah. Also, the wind ladies that are, like, just hanging off of the side of Tressa's car. It's like, listen, I'm not here for cinema sins, this doesn't make sense bullshit. But I will also say that maybe stick to an internal logic of what people can and can't see. If they see a ghost, they should be able to see a man turning into a horse, that's all. That's all I think.
Yeah, don't take things out of context because they will only make sense in this discussion.
Yeah, there's really no way to make this make sense outside of this, but seriously.
Another weird thing was, like, you remember the actress that Hank was trying to protect?
Yeah.
Which was also pretty dramatic because she basically brought it upon herself that her baby that she didn't want because she's an actress, so it would ruin her career to have one.
Yeah.
And then she just abandoned it in, like, a mountain. And then basically the baby came back to haunt her again because, that'd be what baby do. I forgot what we called the baby.
Chanak.
Chanak, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a changeling in, like, Philippine lower mythology, but they kind of, I don't know why, but they decided to make it weirdly more punishing on her now. The mythological origins for that is just changelings, but, like, in the show, they made it like, oh, they're babies that didn't get to grow up or something, and it has kind of, like, gross misogyny undertones, where it's like, oh, if a woman wants to get rid of their baby, then they're making chanaks, and it's like, no.
Yeah, It's basically not accurate. It's not accurate to the Chadnock thing.
Yeah, it's not accurate to the mythology, and it's also just bad.
Yeah, and it was also weird how, like, not only her abandoned child, but, like, all the other abandoned child suddenly homed in on her.
I guess that implied that she's done this before, and she's just been an idiot who doesn't use condoms, but it's like...
That's a ton of babies!
I know! At that point, have your tubes tied. Just get a tubal ligation. If you really don't...
like World War Z levels of piles of babies.
Yeah, like if you're having that much unprotected sex and you super don't want to use condoms, seriously, man, just like get a tubal ligation. The Philippines is uptight as hell, but like if you want to get surgical things done, they won't really have a thing against it if you have the money and can be like, yeah, I'm of sound mind, please tie my tubes. Like that's fine. You don't have to keep resorting to making your assistant go out into the mountains, put your babies in the mountains, and then have them come back and be Chadnock. I'm so confused by that. That's so weird.
So weird. But yeah, it wasn't really said that those were all her babies, but you know.
Yeah. It's extra weird when you think that they aren't her babies, and it's just a bunch of Chadnocks that are just showing up that don't have any connection to her at all and just want to fight her. That's even weirder, I think.
Yeah, it's like they totally put it in for just, you know, the drama of like, you know, oh, she's getting hounded, and then it's like blood curdling scream in the middle of the night, and then she's
blood everywhere. It's like, yeah, the aesthetics are there, but like everything else is a little...
about it.
Yeah, that is one part of the show that really doesn't measure up to mild scrutiny. Because this is us supposed to be discussing stuff that we enjoyed, and like we're having maybe one or two problems about this, and it's such a funny problem.
Yeah, actually the problems are enjoyable in themselves because they're so funny.
Yeah. They're very funny problems.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about the other instances of basically who Trese had to investigate and stuff, because, you know, Trese adventures.
Sure, alright.
Basically, episode 1, she investigated ghosts, death, and
which
then
ended
was
up
tied to, like, this whole politician guy.
Yeah, which, to be fair, he wasn't an aswang, but he was, like, in cahoots. He was in cahoots with the aswang, which, honestly, I'm gonna guess a lot of our listeners don't know anything about Filipino politics, but, let's just say that's not entirely out of the realm of possibility on account of how historically bad our politicians are and have been.
Yeah.
They're always very corrupt.
Corrupted.
Yeah, they're very corrupt. They'll sell anyone to the lowest bidder. It's a fucking nightmare living back home, honestly. Like, we have a fairly privileged side of things, and it's not great for us. It's even worse when you don't have the privileges that we've had. It's really bad.
Yeah.
So this, like, local politician being in cahoots with unknowable forces in order to secure another election, very realistic, very believable.
Yeah. Hats off to Trese for actually including it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
In 2004 as well, like, wasn't that just, like, right after all of the Arab stuff had wrapped up?
It was! And, well, I'd be lying if I was like, I know there's some kind of resemblance, but yeah.
But Budjette Tan just, like, really fucking swinging to the cheap seats.
Shots fired!
Yeah. Swinging to the cheap seats, that's not a thing. Anyway. Sorry.
And yeah, like, no worries.
Yeah.
Like, the emissary that we've been talking about is basically, like, death emissary, you know, for ferrying, dead people.
Yeah, she ferries the souls to the realm of the dead via the MRT, which is adorable.
Yeah. That was adorable. I love that a lot.
When I saw the MRT breaking down, I was like, I'm home.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so accurate. Yeah, and it's kind of fun how it does like a whole Percy Jackson thing where the methods of gods and stuff and legendary beings adapt to the modern world.
Yeah, it's got a very like urban fantasy vibe, which I really love, and it doesn't really get done a lot because people don't do it very well. So like either we get these hidden societies of magic where it's like Harry Potter, and if you don't know about it because you're not magical, you'll never hear about it, or you get the like like the odd Percy Jackson where like mythological creatures just hang out all the time at your local Starbucks and you don't know it because you're a doofus and you can't see that, but they're there.
Like it's established that you can't see it. Yeah, they're there.
Yeah, they have like a special field of vision where like you just sort of see a human instead of a cyclops. You see like normal eyes instead of one big eye, and that's just a totally normal thing. And that's kind of the same thing in Trese, where it's like, yeah, there's a fireball in your cell phone, totally normal. Yeah, that's why you carry around a Nokia 3310.
The Nokia.
Literally, Will was asking about that. Will was asking about why she's carrying such an ancient phone, and I was like, you'll see it. Just give it a minute. There's a reason for that. It's dumb, but it's there. There's a reason she has a 3310 with a fireball in it. There's like the MRT sucks, but that's also because it's overrun with like ghost people that have to go back to the land of the dead. Like it's a really it's a very fun way of explaining why like the MRT is so like historically bad at running.
Yeah, like delayed all the time, probably because it's like coming back from the netherworld. So and like about the whole fireball thing, I'm not over. Where basically Trese, she inherited the thing from her dad where she has like a cell phone where she can call a fireball dude to help her out, and she's literally a floating head fireball.
They're called St. Elmo. St. Elmo's fire. It's the same thing as basically like a will-o'-the-wisp kind of situation. But that's basically what the fireball in the cell phone is about. It's basically just calling like a will-o'-the-wisp, which is an interesting concept.
And well, I guess on the subject of technology, they also did a pretty good job of situating it right when it came out, which was, early
2005. 2004, 2005, everybody had 3310s.
That was in, kids.
You just know she was constantly playing Snake on that thing.
Well, I guess, we ended up talking about a lot.
Oh my god, this is actually longer than most of our main episodes. I guess it's not a mini-sode anymore. It's like an extra long episode where we talk about cool shit. We had a lot to say.
Yeah, we do. I mean, it's one whole series, and I'm pretty sure most other series that are going on this thing are probably not longer mini-sodes.
They're gonna be longer, so let's not call them mini-sodes anymore. Let's call them
let's not.
We'll just say they're bonus eps because they're about the length of a regular, if not double.
OVAs.
Yeah, they're OVAs.
But I guess in summary, aesthetics are great, settings pretty great, although there's just some inconsistencies with the logic and a lot of suspension of disbelief, but lack of time.
Lack of interesting character development, but
for
the main character. Overall, not bad, but we're probably never gonna get a season 2 because they really just like nerfed it by making it so short in the first place.
Yeah, but then they had this whole post-credits thing.
Oh, they did? I didn't see the post-credits.
They did! Okay. Post-credits thing.
Oh my god, okay.
This, like, hot vampire lady, I'm not sure if she was perched on top of, like, Chinatown buildings, or, like, basically Binondo. And she was like, Trese, or something like that. And it's there, so I'm guessing she's the next person that Trese has to encounter. So I'm hoping that they do get a season 2.
Finally show us some, like, manananggal action. That's, like, the most iconic Filipino monster. Everybody knows what that is.
Except, maybe some listeners, but
I mean, like, anybody that knows anything about Filipino mythology. My boyfriend knows about as much as I've told him and has forgotten a lot because it's been, like, 2 years since I gave him the lecture, but he still knows what a manananggal is.
The lecture.
I mean, one time we were on a train and, like, I was bored, so I was like, okay, let me tell you about our mythology. And he was like, no, and I was like, oh, I'm going to. So I did. And, this sounds really bad, but honestly, that's just the relationship we have where we just, like, explain horrible things to each other all the time. Regardless of whether or not the other person wants to hear it. So, naturally, I was like, okay, I got a sketchbook, I got some pens. I will explain this to you. So I did. And he didn't retain much. I don't think he knows what a capra is, but I'm fairly certain he knows what a manananggal is, because he was like, oh, is that the thing with the too many syllables? And I was like, yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, he knows what that is, and he doesn't know anything about these monsters. So if we got that going on, maybe I could get him back on board. Give us that.
That'd be great.
I love Mananangals.
that.
They're so good because it's just like, you can defeat them by putting garlic on their like exposed lower half. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah. Wait, that sounds weird out of context.
Okay. I guess we're gonna have to cut that out because it does. You're right. That sounds pretty bad. But like, they separate at the waist. You can put garlic and salt on the guts part where it's like the under their waist bit where it's like waist, legs, feet. You put stuff there on their exposed guts and it kills them. I'm not trying to be gross. I'm not trying to say you shove things where they don't belong. Don't take me out of context, please.
Oh boy. But yeah, that's Mananangals, everyone.
Yeah, sorry about that. Anyways, this has been our very rambly conversation about Trese, where we discussed the first 3 eps and then the 6th. Because I honestly could not.
We skipped the whole zombie stuff. But
oh my god, yeah, there was like zombies in the police station, and then zombies going on at like a prison camp. Like there was a bunch of zombie shit that we just completely skipped over because it was boring. I'm sorry.
It was probably the least interesting because zombies, really.
Also, because all cops are bastards, even that guy. We're a fully ACAB podcast here at magicalgirlsbookclub.youtube. YouTube/magicalgirlsbookclub.com, where we talk about monsters and magical girls, and sometimes why the cops suck. Yeah, all the zombie stuff is boring, because most of it is about why the cops are good, and it's like, I don't care. Everything else is great, though.
Yeah, and like, I'd say out of, -10 to 10, -10 being so bad it's good, and 10 being
yes.
Where do you think it is?
Okay, I would say this solidly ranks as a 7. It's better than average, but a lot of things make it not as good as it could have been.
I agree. And like, well, we did mention all of the things that, it has its great points, but there's definitely more room for improvement.
Oh my god, yeah. There's a lot of room for improvement, and I mean, I don't have the cultural background required to do a full, like, rewrite of this the way I do with Witch, because I did not grow up with this. I'm not constantly thinking about ways to make it better, but, like, if I did have that, rest assured that would be season 2.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, if you guys are interested in it, and I guess we maybe spoiled 80% of it for you now, but if you're still interested, you should totally check it out. It's on Netflix. Yeah. And it's only like 6 episodes of... It's 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours, so... It's 2 hours of... a long movie by present standards. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you can sit through like a really boring Marvel movie, like a Thor the Dark World, if you can sit through a Thor the Dark World, you can sit through this, because this is a lot more interesting than that. If you've seen it, get at us on Twitter. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you agreed with our takes. Yeah. Tell us if you think that we're idiots. Love to hear it. Love to talk to you guys. Engage with us in a social capacity. We'd love to hear more from you people.
And also, if you guys have ideas for what you want us to talk about next minisode,
absolutely request things.
And maybe invite some guests who are also people we know that are also interested in the thing.
Yeah. Request a bonus episode if that's what you want to do. Suggest somebody maybe if you want a guest. I mean, genuinely, I have already just started reaching out to people that I know, like my sister who loves Catwoman, so like, literally I'm open to anybody.
Yeah. So, any magical girl property, and doesn't have to be magical girls, and we did explain what... Yeah,
we did open up the definition of the magical girl genre, like Percy Jackson counts, I guess. If you want to hang out for an hour and talk about Percy Jackson with us, like, absolutely, get at us on Twitter. Love for that. That would be awesome. I'd love that.
Spark those Twitter discussions.
Yeah. Please add us on Twitter. We are so lonely. Anyways.
But yeah, oh yeah, and if you guys are like okay with the one special OVA every 10 episodes, let us know. Or if you want to, have these things more often, like sandwiched in between stuff, let us know also.
Yeah. Honestly, that could only be good for morale. The first 10 episodes of which were fucking grueling. You can see it in the progression where, at first we're so excited, and then by, episode 7, we're like, oh, let's just get to this. But, if you guys want to hear more hour-long ramble rants about stuff we think is fun, that doesn't always require a full, dissection and rewrite, please get at us. Let us know.
Yeah. And, well, I guess, without further ado, I guess this was the Trese episode.
Yeah, this was our Trese bonus episode special, whatever you want to call it. Hope y'all enjoyed us having a little bit of a nice long conversation about this. And yeah, hope y'all enjoyed. Hope y'all watched the show, I guess. The more viewers might mean more seasons of it, so, any support for that we can muster, go do it.
Yeah, and tune in for next time, and maybe we'll also tune into our, main series.
Yeah, please tune into our main series.
If you're interested in more of an analytical approach of which.
Yeah, if you want to hear us dissect, the first 12 to 15 issues of which we grew up with when we were very young and just are always talking about all the time in terms of how to make better, that's what we do most of the time. So if you're interested in listening to some of that, go back listen, come back in a couple of weeks, we'll have episode 11 up. It's a good time all around. We are about this fun every week, I guess, right? I'd say every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks online, every week of discussions.
Yeah. And, if we get enough interest, maybe we'll start, recording the discussions. Let us know. Comment. Get at us on Twitter if that's the kind of thing you want to do. Yeah.
We could record it or we could stream it. I don't know.
Yeah, we could stream it at 10 in the morning. I mean, I guess it's 5 p.m. there, so maybe that works better for you and our listeners back home. But here, that's just people going to lunch time,
Morning session.
Yeah.
You can have it with your morning breakfast brunch.
Yeah, wake up with me while we give ourselves headaches trying to figure out new plot points.
Yeah. Yeah. So let us know. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next whatever episode you choose to listen to.
Yeah, we'll see y'all in 2 weeks, hopefully. Bye.
Bye.